Fire that broke out here at Charlotte Maxeke, Johannesburg Academic Hospital. This is one of the preeminent public hospitals in our province, very central in the fight against COVID-19, but a center of excellence in the public health system in South Africa. It's one of the 4 central hospitals in Gauteng province that are providing services, healthcare services, state-of-the-art healthcare services. They are also training institutions. Yesterday at around 11:20 in the morning, that is 20 past 11, there were 5 officials who work in this hospital, together with 2 members of the security who are looking after this facility here. Just where we are, on the ground floor, there's several parking spaces, but this is also the place where it is a special dispensary, where the hospital stores critical medical supplies, consumables in here. So that's where the fire started, at the storage, which is at a level just below the parking bays. So the levels that you would see here where the smoke is coming out of, this is the parking bays of the hospital. But the fire broke out at the special dispensary. Some medical equipment and consumables have been damaged as a result of the fire. The hospital is still quantifying that together with the Department of Health. The MEC for Health was here yesterday. She came in the afternoon when the fire was contained. The Johannesburg Emergency Services and Fire team has done a great job. They've been working here. They reinforced in the evening when the fire reignited. They reinforced by bringing in Ekurhuleni as well as AXA. All the teams were here. They worked throughout the night. The fire has been contained. The divisional commissioner of the fire department of Johannesburg is here. She is going to share with us how the team is feeling, and the spokesperson of the fire department. What they are assuring us is that the fire has been contained into specific areas, but it is important to say that there is smoke that has come out of this fire that has gotten into the different parts of the hospital, including the wards. So what are we concerned about? I just came out of a meeting together with the 2 MECs, the MEC for Health, Dr. Maxeke, and the MEC for Infrastructure Development, MEC Mutara. We just came out of a meeting. The CEO of the hospital had convened a meeting to brief us with the heads of the different departments and the clinical services about what their assessment is. So whereas the Johannesburg Fire Department is reassuring us that they have been working throughout, they've contained the fire in the different areas. The fire is not into the wards. It is in the areas, as you see here, the parking bays, and one of the areas of the floors of the parking bays has caved in, caving in. It's like collapsing into the storeroom that is below this parking bay, as a result of the heat that this building has been absorbing. And this heat, the firefighters are saying the heat is also a result of what has been burnt. There's lots of plastic stuff that has been burnt, and some of that is our highly priced medical consumables that are stored in here. I said to you that the team and the CEO and the team from health are still doing an assessment of the damage. But because some of it is plastic stuff, that's what is reigniting the fire. That's what the fire department from the city of Johannesburg is saying to us. As a result of the assessment that the CEO and the heads of clinical services have made, and they have recommended that to us, we unfortunately have to announce that we have to temporarily shut down Charlotte Maxeke Hospital for 7 days. That's the first announcement. Why are we doing this? Firstly, I must say there's been no loss of life as a result of the fire. There's no casualty as a result of the fire, but we must take precautionary measures because the smoke that is coming in here is going into the different wards. The temporary suspension of operations here is something that was not taken lightly. We have also been briefed by the CEO and the leadership of the hospital, and I'm saying involving the heads of clinical services, because we are guided by the specialists and we are guided by the people who are running the hospital about the risk. They have advised that it was correct. Last night, the MEC was here that they start transferring patients. So far, more than 400 patients have been transferred. These are patients in different wards here who have different conditions. They've been transferred to various facilities in Gauteng province. Some of them have been transferred to our other preeminent same level of service academic institutions, such as Chris Hani Baragwanath and Steve Biko. They are, as you all know, they are also central hospitals. They provide tertiary care. But we have also used a lot of our regional hospitals in different. There are children who are in here. There are people who are trauma patients. There are mothers who have given birth here, looking after the children. They have also been transferred to different facilities where, based on the specialty of some of our regional hospitals and some of our facilities. So they have been transferred. More than 400 have been transferred. The remainder of 270 are currently being transferred. By the end of the day today, we will have all the patients in this hospital having been transferred. And this is a precautionary measure. This is a step taken to avoid a situation where, if this fire takes long, the firefighters are saying to us they've been working 24/7. They've been working from when they were called in yesterday, 11:30, 11:40. They've been working. Sometimes the fire dies down and they sit here and ensure that if there is an outbreak in another part of this fire, they immediately deploy. They are having teams that they are changing, bringing in. As I said, they have reinforcements from Ekurhuleni and Prasa. But we have taken precautionary decisions, firstly to make sure that we don't put the patients at risk. So the patients are being transferred to different hospitals. We have set up a call center that is going to be informing all family members of the patients about where the patients are. There is the call center in the province, which is the Premier's hotline. That call center has been activated. They are going to be working with the hospital to phone members, family members. We are going to ask the CEO and Mr. Taya for us to be able to announce what the number is, so that family members can call there to check where the member of the family is transferred. We must say that so far everybody is safe. The staff who have been working here at the hospital are safe, and the patients who had been admitted here are safe, but they are being transferred to the different hospitals. I want to thank our our colleagues in local government from the city of Johannesburg responsible for fire, the city of Ekurhuleni and AXA. I also want to thank the private ambulance services that have been working with the Gauteng EMS that have come to party here. They are all working together to transfer the patients to our other facilities. I need to say we cannot afford to have Charlotte Maxeke closed for too long because, as you know, even with regard to treatment of COVID-19 patients, this is one of our preeminent facilities. This is one of the top-class public hospitals that has developed lots of innovations in the treatment of COVID-19. Amongst the patients who have been transferred, we had 13 patients who were COVID-19 patients. 2 of them were in the ICU and 11 in the general wards. And those in the general wards, it means some of them are people who have just tested positive. Others have mild symptoms. They are being attended to. 2 of them are those who are in ICU. They are also amongst those that have been transferred. They will be taken care of. The heads of clinical services and the departments who are taking care of the various patients have assured us that they are going to be looking after these patients, working in conjunction with the facilities where they are going to go. This, I regret to announce that the temporary shutting down of Charlotte Maxeke is a setback because this hospital services are required, but it is better to take precautionary measures and to be preemptive than to keep patients here at risk and family members coming. I walked in the hospital corridors myself. There is smoke in the corridors, not just this side, closer to where the fire is. In the whole hospital, I walked to the different wards to see the patients that we are transferring, to also reassure them, but the risk is there, the smoke is there. So it is safer for the staff that are looking after the patients, but also safer for the patients, that the patients are moved. Our Department of Infrastructure Development is having their team here as soon as they are able to get into the building, because the fire department says to us it's not safe so far to have anyone getting in there. As soon as the fire department advises that it is possible to get in there, our structural engineers are going to get into the building to do an assessment of the damage as it relates to the structural integrity of this part of the building. The fire, as you know, the fire is here, it's on the sides and on the other part of the hospital, but it hasn't gotten into the wards themselves. But the smoke is everywhere. As I say, walking in this hospital, the smoke can become a real risk, and it is better to take these decisions. The Department of Infrastructure Development will also immediately, after the assessment, take decisions about fixing this, because we would like the hospital to resume its services as soon as possible. The MEC for Health is going to be working with the leadership of the hospital, the CEOs, and all the teams that are here, hour by hour, to enable us to keep the people of our province updated. I want to say to the people of Gauteng, patients should not come with immediate effect. As of now, the services are suspended, so this hospital is shut down. There should be no patient who comes here to Charlotte Maxeke now, because they will not be admitted. The best thing is that they must go to the nearest hospital. Even those who often come in the next 7 days, we are advising people not to be coming here to collect medication or for the appointments with the doctors. That the CEO of the hospital and her team are going to be communicating how we continue to pay attention to this issue, including those who have emergency ops that may have been scheduled, that will be communicated with the relevant patients. So it is not an easy decision that we had to make, but within 7 days we are confident that the hospital services will be resumed. I would like just for you to hear from the spokesperson of the fire department about what the assessment of where the situation is now, and then we can take questions. The CEO will answer questions about the details. The MEC will answer questions, but the chiefs who have been fighting the fire just need to say something about what they have assured us, that they have contained the fire. The fire is not put out yet, and my clear message to them is that we must put out the fire. We must call in all the relevant support and resources to put out the fire. This fire must not get to damage the rest of the building. It has damaged the areas now, the parking areas, and some of the areas we also have cars that are still parked in here. But the fire is contained. May I call in the spokesperson of the Johannesburg Fire Department to say something about the fire services?
Okay, thank you, Premier, MEC, and the leadership of Charlotte Maxeke Hospital. As the Premier has assured you, is the information that we have given to him that we are able to contain the fire to its origin, where it started at the storeroom of the hospital medical supply. And what is happening now, we just pumping water into that area just to make sure that the fire doesn't flare to other areas. And what has been a challenge for us is because of the staggering of the medical supply. It's a huge storage in terms of the medical supply that is stored into the storeroom, but we are actually working on that and actually extinguishing the fire so that it doesn't spread, as the Premier has said. It has been contained. We cannot actually give the actual time as to when are we going to be able to totally extinguish the fire, but by the look of things, we have managed to contain the fire, 80% of the fire that was there. We left with about 20% of the fire. We could have actually been able to extinguish the fire had it not be the amount of the stock that is in the storeroom. So we're working on that one, and the initial challenge, it was water supplied when we arrived here at 11 yesterday, but we managed to source water. Now we have continuous water supply, and we are dealing with the situation, and we are looking forward to say that maybe by the end of today we'll be able to manage to contain the fire and totally extinguish it, Premier.
Thank you very much, Premier. Thank you very much, Spokes. Colleagues, we'll just have to ask questions. Just raise your name and where you're from, and then you can take it from there. Okay? So, newsroom 1.
CEO, I need you now to deal with some of the questions, even if they don't ask.
Mr. from Newsroom Africa. Premier, what exactly caused this fire? Are you suspecting foul play? Because in February we had a similar incident in Gauteng where another storage facility was burned down. So seemingly there is a trend here.
Well, obviously that was the first concern that we had about what the cause of the fire was. And I must say that particularly when you have fire that ends up burning our especially supplies, such as we have PPE and other very important medical consumables. When that happens, the first thing is to understand what caused the fire. The good thing, though, is that there were 2 security guards in the vicinity of the fire, plus 5 hospital officials who work at the storeroom, at the dispensary. So in this particular case, we can't say it happened at night, and we don't know who came in and lit the fire. So it's very important that in this particular case, the people who saw when the fire first started are there. They were able to give their story to the CEO, and they will also be able to give their story to the investigator. So on this one, I think it is easier for me. It's reassuring that it happened when people were working around the storeroom. There were people who were working there, and when the fire just started, they reported immediately as it started. So we have 5 people who work in the storeroom, plus 2 security officers who take care of the area. So my concern and suspicion is allayed, but I still would want to know what caused the fire. Because they were there and they were able to report it immediately, we will be able to get information. We have had incidences where there was fire and it was difficult to establish what the cause is, like at the hospital, Carltonville Hospital. I'm very concerned by that similar incidents, but in this particular case, from the point of view of the investigation, there are 5 people who were around the area when the fire started, and 2 security guards. These 5 people work in the storeroom, so that will assure us that the information will be available. We are not suspecting that there is foul play. Just from those preliminary assurances by the 7 officials, if you add them in total, we are not suspecting that there's foul play. But there must be an investigation.
Okay. Premier, I just wanted to, we've heard reports that there was stock taking that was being done at that particular storage facility, that in fact inspectors are going to come to inspect the stock that was there. Can you confirm any of that?
The CEO will answer that question.
Thank you very much. Yes, I can confirm. As you know, the financial year of government starts in April, and every year at the end of March, we close all our stores to do the stock take so that we can report our annual financial reports. So the stores, they had done the stock take, they have the certificate. It was just only left with verification, as you say.
Has that not been destroyed in the fire?
The what?
The certificate?
No. Because it's on a computer system, we can access it.
Yeah.
Sana?
Premier, I just wanted to ask, why 7 days for the hospital to be temporarily closed? Can it be shifted maybe to the fewer days rather than 7 days? I just want to get clarity why the specific 7 days for the hospital to be temporarily closed.
Well, as the Premier of the province, I can announce 3 days and then come and announce extension of 3 days. In consultation, all the team has decided, the management of the hospital had decided that there must be a shutdown. So when we've been discussing with the fire chief, the deputy director of the fire department, who was in our meeting, gave us a sense of how long it might take to put out the fire. The MEC for infrastructure development gave us a sense that once the fire is put off, the structural assessment and the fix that's needed. All I can say is that if I say 3 days, I want it to be operational on Monday. That's what I said to the team. Can we get the place operational on Monday? But they said, Premier, that will not be realistic. Firstly, we have decided that we are moving all the patients to give ourselves a chance to make sure that when we bring back the patients as soon as possible, that's why in the 7 days is realistic. But I also want to say that at the end of that period, I would like to do an assessment. The MEC will report to me. The 2 MECs, both the MEC of Infrastructure and the MEC of Health will report to me. And then we will advise the people of Gauteng if we are able to resume the services. But we want the services to resume as soon as possible. So 7 days is not arbitrary, it's just, again, to be more cautious. But if it takes less than that, we will announce. As soon as if it is ready by midweek, including, remember what we must also do, the hospital is going to ensure that it has got stock, especially PPE stock, that is good, and the replacement of whatever has been burnt by the fire from our main depot, storage places, all that work will be done. But you don't want to raise unrealistic expectations. I don't want to come here and explain to people after announcing that the hospital is ready, and they come here and they find that there are still things that need to be fixed. So 7 days is realistic, but we want the hospital to be operating as of Monday. But we just need to be realistic in that sense.
We know that there were a couple of people that were suspended a couple of days ago. Do we know if any of them are working in the storage facility? Number two, there are also reports that there is no water pressure hydrant infrastructure, in fact, in the hospital, and that is why we're where we are right now. So if you can kindly clarify with regards to those issues.
So DID will deal with the issues around conditional assessments. So I think you should deal with suspension of officials if there are any.
Yeah.
I'll deal with continuity of care.
And the MEC will also deal with continuity of care, but the infrastructure issues will be dealt with.
Yes, I can confirm that the people who were suspended were in the stores. As you know, the priority was to make sure that the patients are safe. And as the Premier says, as we investigate, all those things will be what will unfold.
Okay, so as you know, these hospitals are extremely old, and they would have been built under particular fire requirements at the time. The fire department can explain where they are drawing the money from, the water from. Currently, it's not on site. But what we've done, and I think we have explained that all our hospitals, we've done condition assessments on all the hospitals, just to make sure that we have a program to make sure that they are also up to date, maintained and upgraded, to make sure that they are in line with the current either fire safety requirements, because all of them would have been built under different conditions. So the fire department is drawing water not from the current facility but from fire hydrants outside the hospital, and according to them it is sufficient to be able to address the situation on site. As we do corrective measures for occupational health and safety and upgrading all our hospitals, we'll make them up to the current standards of either fire and safety, which get updated by municipalities on an ongoing basis.
But a conditional assessment of this hospital, you remember there was an incident I think it was in 2018, when the hospital, there was some work being done here, a refurbishment, and part of the hospital collapsed during that work that was being done. So the Department of Infrastructure Department did a conditional assessment. A conditional assessment of the hospital is to ensure that the Department of Infrastructure Development upgrades continuously. Every time there's maintenance services is directed and informed by a proper scientific assessment of each part of the hospital. So that, as far as we are concerned, that conditional assessment and any maintenance work that continues to be done at this hospital is in response to the conditional assessment. So the issue of the outbreak of this fire is a matter of concern for us, and that's why we must do everything to put the fire out. That's why we must also ensure that storage facilities, one of the important things is our storage facilities, where we store these very important assets and valuables. They themselves have to be, from the point of view of fire and other risks, those storage facilities. So you can have the rest of the facility okay in terms of maintenance, but where you are storing valuables like the ones that we are dealing with now, requires extra efforts to ensure that we don't have an incident where we lose what we need to provide public health care. I would like the MEC for Health just to deal with the services side and provision of healthcare services in this period. MEC Maxeke.
Thank you very much, Premier, and thank you to the members of the media. Firstly, I would like to thank the staff of Charlotte Maxeke under the leadership of the CEO. Yesterday when I arrived here, the fire was still strong, but as we're standing with the team there, we managed to take decisions to say we are diverting all the patients that are coming to the hospital from that time until 8. And then after we saw that the fire was worse, we then decided that we are diverting until further notice. And I also would like to thank the doctors, because as the Premier said, there will be continuation of health care. As we're transferring patients to other hospitals, there were those doctors who were driving literally behind the ambulance so that they can continue care where they arrive. And then we have also taken a decision that the staff of the hospital will be divided and allocated to the hospitals where we have transferred our patients to make sure that there is continuity of care. So I also want to thank the staff to make sure that, because as I was interacting with the patients, because what is important is that if everybody panics, then the whole system got disrupted. But the doctors were coming, the patients, they were calm, and everybody was working in a very polite way. And where I'm standing, and the Premier has already interacted with some of the patients that are not bedridden, to explain to them that we are transferring you to another hospital, but it doesn't mean that the services will be disrupted. There will be continuity of care. And I also trust the hospitals that we have transferred and are diverting patients to, that there will be continuity of care. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
MEC Cyrus from CGTN. What kind of pressure does this put on the entire hospital system if you take hospital size, Johannesburg Hospital, out of commission?
Okay.
What? Okay. Yeah. I think one of the legacies that we thought are going to assist us with COVID-19 was to create extra beds. For example, we moved 130 surgical patients to Bara. And the reason is because they have an ABT facility that is ready. So this morning, they have actually prepared it because it's got equipment, it was finished, it was just waiting for the surge to come. So the possibility of having that ABT 500 structure at Bara gave us room to be able to move the patients. The second one that is very important is the Tshwane District Hospital. You will recall that we then said that is going to be a COVID-19 so that Steve Biko continues running. So majority of our patients, and strategically so, were transferred to Tshwane District because we do highly specialized services. Our radiation oncology, we only do it with Steve Biko, so we strategically transferred the patients there because they will get the same treatment. The Steve Biko doctors will work with our doctors to continue with that treatment. So the availability of those 90 beds at Tshwane District, 28 ICU beds, even the ones for COVID. That's why we were able to move our COVID. But the last one is that as we were talking with the regional hospitals, we realized that each had a little bit of few patients who are PUI or COVID positive. So we were able to consolidate them into one ward so that we can free up a ward to put the patients who do not have COVID.
Okay, just one more thing. You also have a vaccination center here, so will that be affected if the vaccination should go ahead right now?
Not at all. The vaccination site is in the residences. It is down the road. It is in our assembly hall. It's got its own system that runs, and it is not affected at all.
And just for clarity on MEC, did you say there are no hydrant infrastructure? You spoke about that assessment that has been done, but what I'm trying to understand, there wasn't any hydrant infrastructure in this particular hospital.
So as I indicated, the fire departments of the different municipalities will when we plan and build, in the planning and the building, will determine where the fire hydrants must be and which facilities must use fire hydrants. So at the time that this hospital was built, my understanding is that a fire hydrant on site was not necessary. So they are drawing water from fire hydrants off site, but it's not like 5 kilometers away. It's sufficient to service the hospital. As we do the upgrades, we will meet the requirements of the current, whatever the current needs and requirements are of the municipality. I'm unable to confirm what their current, whether the current fire hydrant capacity is enough, or they will want us to put additional. If they want us to put additional, that's what we'll do. But currently they are drawing the water from a hydrant that's off site, which is not a requirement for us to have a hydrant on site.
Thank you very much, Mia, MSS CEO spokes. Colleagues, we'll keep updating each other because this is very for the residents of Gauteng. So as and when there are developments, we'll make sure that we actually update you. Thank you.
And I want to show you this. They say they have enough water.
There's enough water.
Yeah, they have enough water.
What's the distance of that?